Namaste, Namaskaram, Vanakkam, Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha, we did part 1 on Namasivaya, so let's continue on. So we talked about the image of Nataraja, and this is very important for all of you that are into so-called yoga today, and you often do a cursory look at the Yoga Sutras. Now, please, the Yoga Sutras are one of the Shaddarshanas, one of the 6 orthodox systems of Hindu philosophy. And these Yoga Sutras, the Yoga Darshana, sometimes called the Raja Yoga of Patanjali, were written by the Saiva Hindu Guru Patanjali, and they were written for male Hindu renunciate yogis in training. Anybody who does an honest read of the Yoga Sutras, not a mistranslation. Right? An English translation that has been translated with an agenda to create kind of a universal yoga movement. Right? No, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras are not that at all. They're very strict. And remember, it's not just the Ashtanga portion. That's only one small portion of the entire philosophy. So, many of you know the story of Patanjali's birth, and the whole reason he was born was to watch Nataraja dance, to watch Shiva Nataraja dance. You can listen to our podcast on the Yoga Sutras, and we won't go too much into depth here on that, or maybe we will. Let's see. So the story goes that Patanjali, in his previous incarnation, and remember, this is a direct difference between Hinduism and Christianity here. We believe in samsara reincarnation. Christians don't. The monotheists do not believe in incarnation. Well, you can make a case that they do, because Jesus was reincarnated, right? And he's supposed to come again. So reincarnation is a fact of life. It's not just a theory. It's a fact of life. Everything is reincarnating. If it wasn't for reincarnation, we wouldn't have air or water. It's all recycled, reincarnation, same thing. But it's important to know what reincarnates. We are the Atmana. That's what reincarnates. This physical body doesn't. Of course, it's already getting older. Look at it now, and look at a picture of you when you were 14. So the Saiva Hindu Guru Patanjali, he wrote these classic Yoga Sutras. He was, in his previous incarnation, and again, take this for what it's worth, but he was Sesha. He was a snake. He was the couch of Mahavishnu. So again, Harihara Karupa Guna Shila. We want to always have a united Hindu family, Saiva, Vaishnava, Shakti, the 3. So let us live in harmony. So he was Sesha, the snake, Vishnu's couch, as Ananta. Ananta to the Vaishnavas, Ananta represents the absolute, right? And to the Vaishnavas, Vishnu represents creator, preserver, and destroyer. That's fine, no problem. So one day, Vishnu was moving rhythmically, and Sesha asked why he was moving. And he says, because I'm watching my brother, I'll insert that, my brother Shiva dancing. Right? And Sesha said, oh, if I could only be born with human eyes so that I could witness this dance. Hence, later on, a devout Hindu woman who was without child went down for her morning bath in the river, and she scooped up a little water, and in there was a little snake. And this snake she took home, and it grew into the boy Patanjali. And often you'll see images. We have one in the ashram on the other side. Maybe I'll show you at the end here, where Patanjali is depicted as the lower half a snake and the upper half a human body. So showing the connection with this story. So it's the understanding of the snake-like movement of life that's all symbolically beautiful in the dance of life. So he was born in the Chidambaram Nataraj area, Chidambaram village, which is a powerful place if you get to go there in Tamil Nadu. This famous Chidambaram Nataraja Shiva temple. And to Saiva Hindus, this is considered the center of the universe. Every religion has their center of the universe, of course. So you go there, and that's actually where the classic Bharatanatyam dancers go for their final test, if you will. And beautiful dancing there at the Chidambaram. It's about the sacred inner states of being, inner consciousness. They have a a sanctum that I've never seen any place else where there's nothing in it. It's called the Rahasyam, representing the absolute, like the Shiva Lingam. Remember we showed you that on our last one, the Shiva Lingam, which represents the absolute no thingness, the darkness before creation, within creation, and when it's all over, the all-encompassing. And this is science. I mean, science tells us, it's mind-blowing, but 95% of the universe is the no thingness. It's something, it's not nothing, it's no thingness, the subtleness. And actually, you and I, we go there every single night. We go into the no thingness. That's what allows us to be something during the day. And look in the center of your eyes. What do you have there? A black hole. And it's there. We unify. Bye-bye. That's why the ancient rishis, when it came to ultimate questions of life, they had the wisdom to keep their mouths shut. And they just said, Ka, who knows? It's pure experience. And all of you Hindus know Mauna Bhakti Brahman. The Supreme Brahman is known how? Through silent speech. An oxymoron. We like to talk a lot, but there's a time for being a muni. These are the true yogis. Remember, a yogi and a yogini, by their title, which they wouldn't even look at as a title, they're off the grid. So don't run around calling yourself a yogi or yogini. Come on, that's insulting. Have you ever lived off by yourself for weeks, months, years, like the yogis do? And actually, if you read the Hatha Yoga Pradipika of Yogi Svatmanam, he says that the true yogi must spend at least 1 year in that isolated environment. And that's what we are supposed to do as swamis before we become a teacher, if we're asked to teach, right, is to be a nobody. And again, if you read the Yoga Sutras with sincerity, you'll find it's not about being something. It's about being nothing, no thing, kaivalya. Purushartha sunyam kaivalya, the sunyam, the no thingness. Tarivatra matra nirbasa sunyam iva samadhi, beyond light into the no thingness. Represented by the Shiva Lingam and Ma Kali, the blackness, the black hole. But when we come out of that, we follow the dharma. That's why Shiva always has Nandi Keshvara with him, right? The bull, the divine bull, Nandi. Represents the dharma, standing up for the dharma. And also, beautiful understanding here, the vibhuti that we wear. And notice that the third pada of the Yoga Sutras is vibhuti pada. That's saiva. Vibhuti is the holy ash that we saivas wear. And what's it made from? It's made from cow dung, purified cow dung into beautiful ash. So literally, what have we done here? We're attempting to take the BS in our life, if you know what I mean, and turn it into holy ash, vibhuti, by getting rid of lobha, krodha, kama, greed, anger, lust. How? By, as it says in Brihadaranyaka, what the thunder said, Dana dayadvam damyata, be giving, be compassionate, be controlled. These are the remedies for lobha, krodha, kama, greed, anger, lust. Be like the bull. Face the bull in your life. And all you true yogis, you've probably had to do that. You've literally had to face a bull. You've been out there, and the bull came to you. Look at Chandogya Upanishad when Nandi comes to Satyakama. And what do? You can't run away, or he'll come after you. You can't fight him. You will never beat him. You just have to sit and have faith. Parvati did this when she became reborn as Shailaputri, when looking for her Mahadev Shiva. So, this is dancing Shiva at Chidambaram Mandir, Nataraja. And you go there, and you can actually see in murals on the wall the life of Patanjali. The dancing Shiva, that was his Ishtadevata, remember? As Hindus, we all have our Ishtadevatas. It could be Ganesha, it could be Muruga, it could be Krishna, Vishnu. Your chosen deity. And in the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali advocates that for all of his shishyas, his chelas. Find your Ishtadevata. That's the whole purpose of Svadhyaya, right? Part of the yamas and the niyamas, self-study. The reason we self-study is to what? Connect to a Hindu, not a Christian deity, Kino, who pretends to be a yoga star and prays to Jesus. That's Christianity. That's not Hinduism. Putting your name on yoga. That all started with Iyengar. Bikram, we know what happened to that guy. Right? There's ramifications for stealing the yogas. Right? So, in these Yoga Sutras, Patanjali says it's very important that you understand that the words that you say. Otherwise, people often criticize us when we get down on the phony yogis for being a little too blunt, perhaps. But Patanjali was very blunt. He said, if you take word knowledge that's devoid of facts, you are delusional. Sabdayananupati vastu sunyo vikalpaha. Vikalpa is delusion. You're delusional. That's what he said, flat out. So Nandi, hold on to the Dharma. We are Hindus. We hold on to the Hindu Yoga Dharma. Hindu Yoga, religious, spiritual, scientific, philosophical Dharma. So Namasivaya, we went over that, and we actually have it on our bracelet that we wear. Right? Where is it? Namasivaya. Aum Namasivaya. Aum Namasivaya. The Pachaktara mantra. And the dance of Shiva, the dancing Shiva. Many forms, right? And really in Saivism you have such a completeness. You have symbolically the understanding of, if you decide to enter into Grihastha Dharma, the family life, do that with sincerity, because it's always Shiva and Parvati together. And 2 children, Ganapati and Muruga. Solid family. But if you decide to take the other path of the renunciate sannyas, you have to be content to remain single. That's Yogi Raj, Nataraj, off in the forest, right? So he's showing us there the 2 margas of Hinduism, right? Grihastha or sannyas, right? We don't want to live a third marga where we're just like many phony yoga teachers, etc. You know, they're not married, they're not renunciates, they kind of fool around. That's not the way of the Hindu yoga dharma. Right? In general, that's not a good way to live life. Right? Either stay single, or if you decide to get married, try your best to stay married. Of course, there are extenuating circumstances. We know that in life. But, these are ideals that we want to hold to. Right? If we don't have any ideals, what's the point? So we have these wonderful forms of Shiva. And there's a profound one called Ardhanarishvara. I'll show you that one. Where in one being you have male and female. And this understanding would really help to alleviate all this nonsense that we see today. Because you can go forward into nonsense, Simply because we go forward does not always mean we're going forward into something good. All this non-binary stuff, right? But what happens inside of all of us is the male and female of the left and the right brain. So outwardly, we're either a man or a woman, duh. But inwardly, we all have masculine and feminine characteristics. This gets into our deep understanding of Kundalini and the 2 hemispheres of the brain, the Pingala and the Ida. And this is beautifully depicted by the image of Ardhanarishvara, half man, half woman in one body, right? Understanding our left and right brain. This is what brings about a sattvic or a balanced life of equilibrium. And Shiva Shakti is Shiva and Parvati coming together, united together, cheek to cheek. And then Yogi Raj, if you decide to become a sannyasin. And remember, if we live long enough, everybody becomes a sannyasin at the end of their life. And as we get ready for physical death, remember, folks, when we leave planet Earth, we don't take anybody, anything with us, right? All we take is what we've accumulated on the inside, the inner wisdom, the inner experiences. As we move through this dance of life, we have a bhajan. Saralolahara Namasivaya. Saralolahara Namasivaya. Saralolahara. Saralolahara. Saralolahara Namasivaya. Sara, the truth. Lola, of the swing of life. As we go from one extreme to the other. Don't be afraid. In order to develop compassion, karuna, you have to have passion, kama, in your life. Be excited about life. Go into things. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We don't want to make big ones. Try to make little ones, not the big ones. But live life, right? Then you will have compassion. You'll be able to feel what others are feeling. And that's why we should be respecting our elders, because they've been around a while. They've had a lot of joy and a lot of sorrow, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, sukha dukkha, raga dvesha, likes and dislikes. Hopefully they've tried to figure out thing. So that's why in Hinduism we bow to the feet of our elders. It's just a sign of respect, right? So Sada Lola Hara, this truth of the swing of life. And what's it doing? It's Hara. Hara Hara. We call on Shiva to destroy. Hara Hara Mahadev. It's destroying our ignorance. As we live life and we make mistakes, sometimes we learn a lot more from our mistakes, don't we? So all of you out there into phony yoga, you're making a huge mistake. When are you going to change this? It's up to you when you're going to change, right? You're making a huge mistake. If you want to be a teacher of any aspect of the Hindu yoga dharma, and you wouldn't start with Hatha yoga, you'd start with mantra yoga and karma yoga. You have to first become a Hindu. This would be true to any of the religions of the world. They're all taught by dedicated members of that religion, right? Don't take some silly 200-hour money-making thing and pretend to be a certified, which means you're a professional. Wow, in 200 hours? Come on, folks. Professional yoga teacher. To become a Hindu and then maybe teach way down the road. And as classically, well, regardless of what schooling you've had, when you enter into this Hindu religious study, you're a brahmachari or brahmacharini, male or female. So it's open to males or females, of course. You're a brahmacharini for at least 12 years. Oh, wow. But who wants to do that in today's fast-paced world? Nobody's ready for that. In 200 hours, we can become a professional. Certified. But you're fooling yourself and you're fooling others. It's serious stuff. We laugh at it, but it's serious. Because you're really fooling people. And you're fooling yourself and you're really hurting yourself. So we've talked about the three sampradayas. So obviously, personally, I'm a Saiva Hindu, and I fully respect my Vaishnava brothers and sisters and Shakti brothers and sisters. It's just what you're drawn to. I mean, one of the first images that I saw as a young boy growing up in the West was this image of Nataraja. And then I entered into the ashram life as a young man and been doing that ever since. But I was very attracted to the Shiva images, and then certain dreams came, obviously, but very attracted to Shiva, the dancing Shiva. And actually, it's interesting, my father was actually a dancer. He did the old-fashioned kind of dancing like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, ballroom and tap dancing, and I started doing that when I was young also. So the dance was always part of life, right? And the Hindu yoga dharma really is a dancing religion. You watch people when they do the head waggles, especially further south you go, right? So they're dancing, they're moving. So let's conclude here. I'll read you a little something from the famous Tirumantram. This is a scripture that most people haven't heard of because, again, like Saivism, this comes from the south of India. So remember, in Hinduism, we have many scriptures, not just one. And you don't have to have the scriptures. I mean, you can do your sadhanas, right? You don't have to have the scriptures. We can use them or not. Right? We have the Vedas, the Agamas, the Tantras, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, and then Tirukural and Tirumantram. These are very classic Saiva southern scriptures. Tirukural and the Tirumantram. And the Tirumantram was written by a Saint Tiruvalavar. Tiru is a very popular Tamil prefix or name. Tiru means holy. Holy mantras. Tirumantram by Tirumula, the holy Mular. And actually, folks, Tirumular was a guru brother to Patanjali. They both had the same guru, Tiru Nandi, holy Nandi. That was their guru. So he was a Saiva Hindu. There's no question about that. Tirumula, he wrote this Tirumantra, and it's all about intense devotion to Shiva. And again, remember we talked about in the beginning of the first section about the Nat principle. Remember, your religion, your sampradaya is a way. But when you're following a way, I mean, you can be fully immersed in that, right? But we want to also keep a level head about us and not make Shiva the one deity for all people, right? Or Vishnu, or God. Remember, that's Christian. That's not for Hindus. So I want to read you a little bit as we end up here from this Tirumantram. And of course, as all Hindus, and as a Saiva Hindu, he starts out with an adoration to Ganesha. He who hath the 5 hands and the elephant's face, whose tusk is even as the crescent moon, the son of Nandi. He often called Shiva just Nandi. They equated the two together. The son of Nandi, the flower of wisdom, him I cherish in thought, his feet adore. And actually, I'm reading from a translation from the Saiva Siddhanta Church. I don't know why they still use that word, but these are a bunch of non-Indian, or I shouldn't say bunch, a group of non-Indian Saiva Hindus from Hawaii, right? And obviously there's been some controversy there, but these guys are really dedicated. They love Siva, right? Ganesh, Muruga, Siva. They have a beautiful, beautiful ashram and mandir and a classic traditional Shivalingam mandir that they just finished completing after 35 years. Whew, powerful. Powerful bunch of guys. I mean, fully dedicated, right? Mm-hmm. So they did this translation. And look, obviously this is the intensity of Tirumalar. He says, "Search where ye will, there be no one like Siva, none here below to equal him in glory. Lotus-like, he of gleaming matted locks, golden in splendor beyond the worlds apart." And again, it's like if you have a spouse, your wife, your husband, your children, they're your all in all to you, and you can talk like that, but you keep your wits about you, and you know that your wife, your spouse, your husband, they're not the all in all for everybody, but you can really appreciate the love here. "I will not cease to speak of him, the great, the rare. I will not cease to prate of him, the form unborn. I will not cease to talk of Nandi the great. I will never cease, for pure and great am I here. Humbled and meek, seek thou Siva's feet, feet that equal the rays of purest gold serene. Praise him with songs of the humble heart, an unpenurious tongue. To such he comes, the all-fashioning Siva. I'll wreathe him in garland, I'll hug him in heart, I'll sing him his name and dance with gift of flowers. Singing and dancing, seek thou Siva. This alone I know, only too well I know." Beautiful stuff. I mean, again, if you're a Vaishnava, blessings to you. If you're a Shakta, but this is the beauty of Shiva here. He of the leopard's skin, gleaming brighter than gold, his tender crescent flashing rich with argent ray, the great dancer, the burning ashes smeared thick. At his feet my garland plated with love's incense I lay. So something very important, because we understand that we are Hindus. And this word Hindu, it's not a foreign word, folks. Please get out of that. Whether you use the H or not doesn't matter. It comes from Hindu, and Hindu is a beautiful word. Hindu, Indus, Hindus, Hindus. Doesn't matter if you use that word. The H or not. Some say Siva, some say Shiva, some say Sakti, some say Shakti, some say Santi, some say Shanti. And there's a constellation Indus, the river valley Indus, the people, the Hindus. It became their dharma, their religion later when you had English, the Hindu religion. So it's a beautiful word. Actually, if you look up Hindu, it means Chandra, Sarid, Bindu, Soma. Chandra, the moon, and Shiva. Sarid, the rivers and the Matajis. The Bindu, the red mark, represents the sun, Surya, and Vishnu, and Soma is the inner nectar within all of us. Chandra, Sarid, Soma, Bindu. This is what it means to be a Hindu. So we worship Shiva and the Matajis and Vishnu and the Antar Atmana, the nectar of bliss within. Om. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So hope you've enjoyed experiencing, learning a little more about Mahadev, Shiva, and all of those into yoga out there. Please think about what you're doing. Become a Hindu, and then maybe teach. And you Hindus out there, follow your sampradaya and respect the sampradayas of others. Don't try to make your scripture, your deity, the one for all, right? That's just fundamentalism, right? Or fundamentalism, universalism. Our religion, our sampradaya is a way, not the way. Om Namasivaya. Sada Lolahara Namasivaya. The truth of the swing of life as we go from one extreme to the other. It's destroying our ignorance. Hara Hara Mahadev. Om Namo Namaha. Namasivaya. 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 Om Namo Namaha. Namaste, Namaskaram, Vanakam, Namo Namaha. Love and